Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We learned, or we were told in Romania, when Romania was a socialist country under a communist system, that in the West there is a free media, and the West has, a free people, democracy, elections, all these beautiful, beautiful lies. Yes, the West has all those on paper. In reality, is very much a muddy water. So, what's going on here? The mass media in the United States of America is big, but the mainstream mass media is very much marching in one direction or another according to not interests, but with agendas set by certain interests. And it's very easy to note that. And the easiest way is to see how the free mass media has no independent thinking. There is, you know what? I think I should interview Emil. No, we should not interview Emil because Emil is a bad dude and nobody should hear from Emil. They decide. So this lack of, and I gave you my example just to give you an example, this lack of interest on the entire media in the US of interviewing certain people, it's not normal. You have people who might be interested in a product. Other people might not be interested in a product. What am I talking about? How many times was in the past 3 years and a half, how many times was Vladimir Putin interviewed by the Western media? In the past 4 years, let's say 3 years and a half. And by whom? Tucker Carlson and who else? Now, Tucker Carlson is not part of the mainstream media anymore. So the mainstream media thought that the American population should not hear from them what the guy has to say, because they think that they promote his lies. That tells me that these guys want to insulate you from hearing the lies of someone else. Like you said, insulate a child. When there's a scene on the TV, you put your hands over the child's eyes and the ears and all that. Protect. But I didn't agree for the government or the mass media, free mass media, to be my mommy or my daddy, the filter of reality. What happened? Tucker Carlson interviewed the president of Iran. Oy vey, let me break my stuff here. And he's the only one. You haven't heard of Agence France Presse, BBC, CNN, ABC, MSNBC, Fox News, all these giants. None of them, nothing to talk about. We don't care. None of these guys thought it would make some money. They're in the business of money, making money. The mass media is not in the business of giving you the truth. No, it's making money by selling you a product. And that is the information they give it to you and I in certain ways. This is mass media. That's why you have advertisers. To keep them going, telling you the truth. It's the other way around. When you go to watch a movie, I'm talking about, you pay for it. Oh, no, you pay for the actors. The actors got their money before you're paying for it, just so you know. On the TV, let's say watch a movie. When you watch a movie, you have commercials. It's not that the commercials are over there because you watch the movie. No. You watch the movie so they expose you to the commercials. That's how it is. The commercials are the goal of the mass media, not the content. The content is like the shit that attracts flies. That's what it is. We are the flies, the content is the shit, and we go over there and show up. And we watch their advertising, the commercials. Remember, these mass media are owned by people who make money. They don't do this for philanthropic reasons. Do you think that, let's say, Raytheon, if it has shares, let's say in CNN, do you think the shares are over there just to give us the news like philanthropy? They make money. How they make money? By exposing their product through the media and you watch it. You know, it's a business. So we have Tucker Carlson, the only person on the entire, let's say, establishment, media establishment, even though he's outside right now, who is allowed to interview Putin, allowed to interview what's his name, the president of Iran, and probably the only one who will be allowed to interview Xi Jinping, the woodchuck, Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Why such a lack of interest? Click, click. That's an order. These guys are regimented. You can't find one guy in Fox News who says, you know what, man, it would be a good idea to see what the Iranian president has to say about so many important things. No, none of them thought that. You think so? They knew that they should not. Why? Because they don't want us to hear from the guy. They want us to hear from the Fox News anchors telling us about whatever and however we need to think about the subject. So let me show you Tucker Carlson. Sputnik. Tucker Carlson announces interview with Iranian president after falling out with Trump. U.S. journalist Tucker Carlson, who recently had a public spat with U.S. President Donald Trump over the latter's policy on Tehran, announced on Saturday the release of his interview with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. And this is what Tucker said. I watched a little introduction. There are all kinds of questions that I did not ask the president of Iran, particularly questions to which I knew I could not get an honest answer, such as, was your nuclear program totally disabled by the bombing campaign by the US government a week and a half ago? There is no chance he's going to answer that question. Honestly, I did not bother to ask it. The answer is, in fact, from an American perspective, even from the CIA perspective, is unknowable. So you can't know yet, Carlson said in an interview announcement he published on social media. And here is again Tucker Carlson, who says the same thing I've been saying for such a long time. Why? It's not because we are geniuses, because this is what we think the rule is, the freedom, the mass media's job is. As I said, freedom, democracy, all these are on the paper. In reality, it's a complete silence. Disinterest, provoked, ordered disinterest. And if they have a disinterest, they think you will have a disinterest to watch and listen to what the president of Iran has to say. Because some mommy and daddy decided you should not hear the guy directly lying to you. Like this, the other guys are not lying to you straight to your faces. Like, I don't know, preemptive strikes on Iran. We had to do it in self-defense. I mean, all the time. Or Ukraine and so on. I'm not going to go further than that. And I'm quoting Tucker Carlson. American citizens have the constitutional right and the God-given right to all the information they can gather about matters that affect them. If their country is doing something with their money in their name, they have a right, an absolute right, to know as much about it as they can. And that would include hearing from the people they are fighting, Carlson said. So this is another one. And we're going to go to Russia today. Carlson teases interview with the Iranian president. Americans have the right to know the viewpoint of a country they fought just 10 days ago, the journalist has said. Well, this is what he says. In a day or two, the acknowledgement that he will be criticized for the interview, saying, why did we do it anyway? We did it because we were just at war with Iran 10 days ago and maybe again. That's why. Again, he says that Americans have the constitutional right and God-given pop. The point is, okay, you can have it. But don't ever think, if you're young, don't think that this is free media. Not even close. Not even close. What cleared for me the issue with American free media was the war in Yugoslavia. How it was reported in the United States of America. I couldn't believe my ears. Or I was reading newspapers and so on. I couldn't believe how these guys were regimented, or the September 11 attacks. Another one. How the anchors were coming in front of us and trying to manufacture a justification or lack of why we were attacked. I mean, for me, at that time, I was not very, I don't know, I don't want to say knowledgeable. You're knowledgeable with time. You get knowledge and you always look back and say, oh, now I know much more. Oh, I was a dumbass then. Oh, I was ignorant then. That means you accumulated. That's a good thing. That's a process. But at that time, I was not too much into politics. I was into politics, but not that much, or looking at things. I have an idea, kind of new, but a lot of things changed. And when I knew that was a result, let's say, September 11 was a consequence of some actions conducted by some people in the name of other people, some on the location where they are not ought to be. And those guys came here, if indeed it was they, all right, who did that. So now, probably they were, because they were in the same area. I'm not talking about the Saudis. I'm talking about the right? All right, friends. So when I saw that and I said, these guys are just actors. They're just manufacturing media, narrative. So that's why I made this video. Not because Tucker is going to interview this guy. How come only this guy? And if you look at Zelensky, everybody swarms Zelensky's office. You find Zelensky every day, 5 times a day with 5 media outlets. I wonder where that guy gets his energy from. Oh, I know now. Okay, all right. I'm just kidding. I don't know that, but I can see signs. I worked in this kind of thing, so I kind of know when I see someone's. I kind of know where that comes from. If that was not there 5 years ago or 4 years ago, and they were not. Watch Zelensky 4 years ago and watch Zelensky in the White House. And you're going to see 2 different people. I know, maybe he ate something very hot or something, like mushrooms. So here is, my friends, media in Genesis of America. I will watch the interview, even though I personally know Iranian position on this one, about 90-some%. I want to see what kind of questions Tucker Carlson asked. He asked Putin some questions. I don't think the questions were, I would have asked more questions. I don't know what the arrangement was before the agreement between the Russian staff and Tucker Carlson, what kind of questions and what, but nevertheless, not what kind, what not to touch, or maybe, I don't know, touch too much. Here it is, but Zelensky does not want to hear from Tucker. And by the way, in the same little clip of 1 minute and 20 seconds regarding the interview with the president of Iran, Tucker says that he sent multiple invitations for the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, for an interview. Nothing yet from that side. Why are they running from questions? I tell you why. Because they probably know this guy is going to ask pertinent questions. Unlike CNN, how are you doing, Mr. Netanyahu? Mr. Zelensky, how do you cope with the evil Russians? Like giving the ball over there, back and forth to one another. I watched interviews. That's exactly what it is. This is a perversion of, as I said, freedom, democracy, free mass media, and we are the free world. We are freer than others, but I think we're not freer than some others, if you know what I mean. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.